Somebody got a haircut.
Uh-oh.
So that officially means, Big Show, that you are no longer a long-haired 7 feet, 500-pound piece of monkey crap. No, you are not. You are a short-haired 7 feet, 500-pound piece of steaming, stinking, grade A monkey crap.
Before we get started reviewing this episode, let's get something out of the way. I wanted to be so hyped for this episode because I love Black Adam, and I do like Apocalypse. However, the more time went by, the more people did nothing but go on and on about the bit, as if they were trying to appeal to Biffweed or something. If you don't know what the bit is, that's good. If you do, I hope you're not one of the people who brought me to the point of just wanting to get the episode over and done with. Black Adam is in my top 5 favorite DC characters Death Battle's ever used, just behind Superman, Aquaman, and Booster Gold, and I cannot even be remotely hyped or interested. I just wanted this episode over and done with, out of the way, and thanks. Black Adam vs. Apocalypse. Anyway, yeah, let's go. Black Adam's analysis is pretty good. I never laughed at all during it, but I enjoyed it enough. The cutaway was superfluous, and like all cutaways, kind of just obligatory, and the way they bring on the quintessence as basically DC's gods, despite there being other gods in DC directly related to Black Adam that they mentioned earlier, can lead to the confusion, I imagine, to some people about if these gods are related or whatnot, when they're completely separate and only one of them are actually gods. Apocalypse, meanwhile, is the same thing in his analysis with the Celestials, which aren't really gods, but they at least don't reference other gods to confuse anyone, though let's be honest, everyone knows Thor exists in this world, and he's a god, so some people probably got confused when like, oh, the Celestials are gods, are they like Thor? But no, it's not that worth reading into. It was just a very minor thing I noticed. It's not relevant. I had nothing else to say. I enjoy both analyses, but I do feel like at least Adams felt a bit short for some reason. I don't know. It's just a feeling, not much else. Onto the fight, I quite like the comic intro. It doesn't really fit these characters any more than it would any other cape shit matchup, but like, they are comic characters, so it was a fun intro. The start overall is generally a fun Black Adam trying to protect Kahndaq from Apocalypse setup. The fight in general though, it's fine. I don't know, it feels short to me for some reason, and it didn't really stand out much. I guess in general there were plenty of cool moments, though frankly all of them were Apocalypse, and it did kind of feel like Apocalypse featuring Black Adam to me. Black Adam's two big moments to me were punching the Death Seed out of Apocalypse and blowing up Apocalypse's robots. However, Apocalypse just puts the Death Seed back in and blasts Adam away, which makes saying this is a cool Adam moment kind of like saying Galaxia taking Beerus's whatever Bobby out was a cool Galaxia moment. It was a cool moment for someone else, to be honest. Adam getting out of the robots, meanwhile, would probably be more impressive if he didn't just body them effortlessly earlier and didn't require a yellow lantern ring here to do so. So Adam just didn't feel like much of anything in this fight. Apocalypse, however, he stole the show. He no-sells Adam's initial volley, he no-sells the first living lightning blast, he no-sells having the Death Seed punched out of him and blasts Adam away. He gets this just awesome shot framed by the moon. He catches the lightning fear tiger and proceeds to just effortlessly rip its jaws open and destroy it while turning giant. And the entire giant Apocalypse scene is in generally just fucking awesome. And it's definitely not Black Adam that makes this awesome. Like, the fact that we don't get to see the giant Apocalypse at first, we only get to see the shadow of it as it dwarfs Adam, and then the first time we do get to see it, it's this silhouetted shot of it way in the background, illuminated by the broken moon. This shot of Apocalypse goes so hard. Then Adam gets fucking put down like a dog in the single coolest shot in general across the animation, with Apocalypse's big punch, and they made a guy raising his fist off the ground roar. Like, that is awesome. Then we get to the death. So first off, I want to mention, they say that you can't keep Adam down no matter how often you knock him down. Apocalypse knocks Adam down, and Adam stays down for the rest of the fight until Apocalypse picks him back up. We get the big Shazam shout, and it's good. It's not great. It feels extremely guttural and less booming, which is sort of not the direction I'd take it, but it's still fine. The actual lightning though, it has no impact. It hits Apocalypse as a very, very weak sound effect. Apocalypse gives a mildly disgruntled "ugh," and literally immediately after Apocalypse has already regenerated. It's like, what a pathetic blast. I mean, it's better than Shazam's one, absolutely. Although Shazam's one did get a bigger reaction out of Captain Marvel, I guess it's just his shout sucked balls. But the blast doesn't feel impressive. I would have liked if the sound was better, if Apocalypse actually sounded like he was getting hurt by it, and if there was any lasting consequence, because like, vaporizing Apocalypse's giant body feels completely meaningless, because it does nothing. As literally, there's no time between Apocalypse getting hit by it and him getting back up. Like, there's not even a brief pause where Adam is like, ooh, I got him. Or a brief pause where Apocalypse is like, oh, that's smarts. He just gets back up. He's fine. That blast did nothing to him. We then get the death, which starts really stupid. Black Adam goes for a second Shazam shout, but instead of actually saying it, he stops to say, oh shit. Are you joking? Not only does that line in general feel kind of out of character, at least just like saying oh shit to a guy raising his boot over you, it's also just, why? Why did he give up? Because like, he had plenty of time to finish and get Apocalypse hit again. Why didn't he even try to get up anyway? He doesn't look that injured. The whole bit is stupid. Imagine Goku vs Superman 2, but Goku's like, Kamehameha, oh fuck. Apocalypse then smashes the camera and we get a pretty gnarly head stomping. This is great. This is a brutal ass kill, though Apocalypse's laughing looks goofy as shit. Then when Apocalypse raises Adam's head up, it looks like this. This is fucking hilarious and the funniest shit in this fight, and the second funniest shit in the overall episode. Just, what is this? It's like a hybrid of The Rock's eyebrow raise and a soy jack. I get it, right? If your face got stomped in, you would look fucked up. But this doesn't look like the fucked up face of someone who got his head stomped in. This looks silly. I can't take it seriously. This looks like a meme face. Or like, you know that feeling when you go onto like 2010 Newgrounds and you see this My Little Pony character who's been all gored up because some edgelord decided to corrupt innocence? This has the same energy as that. But Apocalypse making sure the last thing Black Adam sees is his fallen kingdom, letting the failure sink in before killing him for good. That's good. Like, character-wise, that's great, and that's really evil and fits Apocalypse because he's a cunt. But I cannot take it seriously with this stupid-ass, meme-worthy face on screen. Not to mention, in this shot, Apocalypse is fully rigged, while Adam is literally just a stiff single sprite. This wouldn't be as noticeable if Apocalypse wasn't so smoothly animated. The end comic bit, by the way, I didn't like as much as the start, because like the cracking on the screen kind of doesn't feel like it fits here. Overall, you can tell I enjoyed a lot of things, but as a complete package, it just didn't excite me. It was a fun start. It goes into Apocalypse no-selling everything Adam throws at him, with these punches honestly looking really stupid. There's a brief but pretty good scuffle. Adam punches Apocalypse's death seat out and never tries to do that again, and it goes nowhere. And I'll mention, because it's funny, this is definitely a nitpick and doesn't really take away from the episode, but I have to mention that because some people won't understand if I don't say it explicitly. Apocalypse doesn't even pull Adam's arm out of his body. Like, Adam's arm is already nearly out of his body when Apocalypse gets to do it, and him putting the death seed back in himself just looks dumb. Anyway, Adam shoots some stuff and then gets dogpiled, and Apocalypse looks all cool. Black Adam puts on the yellow lantern ring, which frankly is not something I was really expecting, and I would have been totally fine with him getting this completely non-Black Adam feeling equipment if it was used in a cool way. Instead, literally all he does is throw a tiger and fart loudly. Boring. The cut between him farting and them fighting, by the way, is super abrupt. There definitely was something cut there. I haven't checked the story. I don't know if the storyboards are out yet by the time I'm recording this, but I haven't checked them. There's definitely something missing there, I want to say. And the actual flying brick clash is cool, and the moon shattering in the distance is also cool. Especially because this is a higher scale feat than anything Apocalypse has ever done in his life. And then the whole sequence from the Tiger to Soy Jack Rock is really cool and awesome aside from the Gimp lightning. Though speaking of Gimpness and its relation to Apocalypse, let's talk about the voice acting. Cameron Nicard's, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Black Adam was overall pretty decent. It was nothing special, it was just a general Black Adam impression, but he got most of the inflections right and he felt like the character. Aside from being a bit too guttural for my liking in his second Shazam shout, he overall gets a big fat thumbs up from me. Wolf Williams' Apocalypse, however, I'm sure it would sound fine on its own, and he does sound cool, but I cannot understand him basically any time he speaks with all these effects on him. At least on the first go. It took a few watches for me to understand what he was actually saying. He sounds like a robot more than a cyborg. It's weird. It sounds wrong and kind of silly as well. Like, he has that sort of, oh, I'm so evil, oh, fear me, sort of vibe that I can't shake. I would love to see what Williams' Apocalypse voice sounds like without the effects, though. And then there's a conclusion, which is fine. I mean, there's some weirdness to me. I find some weirdness with them saying the living lightning is just lightning when they made a big deal about it not being ordinary lightning just because it might seem like it works like it. But that weirdness is not enough to undo the goated Gara vs. Toph reference. After all, it might be magic lightning, but it's still just lightning. I hope that was intentional. That was the best part of the episode. It's also weird that they never give us an idea on how strong the Phoenix Force and Quintessence are. Like, they're just vaguely strong, and apparently we should just accept, with no reason and no evidence given, that they are comparable to one another. When, like, in this fucking episode, the best they give Adam was pushing a moon. And the best they give Apocalypse is scaling to universe busting. So frankly, I mean, by what they gave in the analysis, Apocalypse should just fucking stat stomp. I get that that's not what they intended or mean, but like, unless you know prior that Wonder Woman is universe level, saying that scaling to Thor and Wonder Woman is comparable is kind of weird when Wonder Woman has no metric to go off in the episode while Thor is just called a universe buster. And also, if you have prior knowledge of Death Battle, every other time the Phoenix Force has been mentioned, it's called a Planet Buster, which is definitely not as impressive as where they put Thor. So if you have no metric at all, this doesn't really work because there's no evidence to back up what they said in the episode, and I just want to specify in the episode because what they said is roughly correct, and I do agree with it, it's just mostly not on the episode. But if you have a metric based on the previous episodes, it also doesn't work because the Phoenix Force is suddenly better than the Planet Buster, I guess. It only really makes sense to someone like me who understands in advance due to being in the community how strong these characters are. Like, I understand Wonder Woman and Thor are comparable, I understand the Phoenix Force and Wizard Shazam can break the infinite dimensional boundaries on the Omniverse. They also go saying that, like, Apocalypse just outdoes Adam in variety without addressing the Yellow Lantern ring. Now, on one hand, they could be implying that because Adam hasn't shown much with the ring, that there's no reason to believe he's capable of using it to achieve the same things as other Lanterns. But, when you literally have Apocalypse's Death Seed scaled to someone else's Death Seed, when Apocalypse has no reason given to believe he's capable of using it to achieve the same things, I think it would have been good if they could have had a brief segment dedicated to that, explaining why Apocalypse's Death Seed is reasonable to compare to others, but Adam's Yellow Lantern Ring isn't reasonable to compare to others. At the same time, they didn't mention anything the Yellow Lantern Ring was capable of, so I guess any random person who knows nothing about Lantern Rings probably will assume it's just a power-up that makes tigers, which is a funny visual at least. It's like a shitty Naruto gate. Oh yeah, the crack in the camera carrying over to the conclusion is cool too. I do like that. That was good. There's a fun visual gag, they barely address it. So the episode was good. Nothing special about it. I didn't really feel like I got to see Black Adam doing much cool shit like I would have hoped. But I did get to see Black Adam. He was accurately characterized, mostly. So, I can't complain on that front. Apocalypse got to be the showstopper, the scene stealer, the X-Men Marvel Comics Apocalypse guy, and that was fun. Mostly, I guess I'm just happy that Biff and his friends got a kick out of this episode happening. As much as the bit made me fucking miserable because basically nobody I talked to actually wanted to talk about how cool Black Adam was, it brought some entertainment to Biff and his mates, and that's what matters. Next time we're getting Xeno, Trunks, and Archie Silver, and my feelings towards this are complex. On one hand, it's still Trunks vs. Silver, and frankly, I sleep. Silver also gets very little from Archie, while Trunks gets so much shit from Heroes in Xenoverse, it's insane. On the other hand, I fucking love Xenoverse 2. Aside from Monster Hunter World, Xenoverse 2 is the game I've clocked the most hours into overall, and I fucking love it. It's so bad, but so fun at the same time, and I am hoping to see a good deal of Xenoverse in the analysis. Though I know most of it will just be footage from that one animated advertisement for cards. Additionally, I'm curious to see how they tackle Archie Silver. From what I know, he's never used Super Silver once in the actual comics. And it's only mentioned in a paragraph of the Sonic Comic Encyclopedia that mentions he used it alongside Super Shadow and Super Sonic against Solaris. Naturally, that would imply the events of 06 occurred in Archie Sonic, which, you know, it probably did. Silver's super form in general, I just personally don't consider standard because the only time he ever used it on his own was IDW Comics, a completely different canon from the games in Archie. Like, I wouldn't use that any more than I use a version of Batman that can, in one adaptation, use the fucking Hellbat on call. And use that to say that Batman should be able to just call the Hellbat in any matchup. Like, no. It's a different canon, and in 06 when Silver gets super, it's because Sonic gives it to him. There's no reason to believe he could just achieve it on his own, because he's never done that. But he's going to get it anyway, so I'm curious what they'll do. I hope they don't just say that he can achieve all the same abilities as Super Sonic and Shadow, because they share a power source with no evidence, because, like, Silver's never done shit in his super form. And when I say that, I do mean, like, I don't want them to just say that Silver has all the abilities of Super Sonic and Shadow with no evidence. Obviously, in scaling and stats, he did fight alongside them to fight a foe that would scale to them, so, like, he should scale in, like, power. But I mean in terms of what he can do. I can't imagine it's fair to say Silver can just do all the same reality warping that Super Sonic and Shadow can do, just because they share a power source, any more than to be fair to say, I don't know, Black Adam can phase through objects, alter matter, absorb energy, and time travel just because he has a Yellow Lantern Ring that shares a power source with other Yellow Lantern Rings. You know, they wouldn't say that, so they wouldn't do that with Super Silver, would they? Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that's tackled. Other than that, yeah, that was the review, and I'm just happy that this episode's over and done with now.
Who the hell you think you are? To say the least, The Rock is something you're not undisputed champion, so shut up, bitch!
And with that, another review is done. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can tell me what you thought of the episode in the comments, and I will read some of them, at least the early ones. Please be civil, especially to each other, not just to me. And you know, we can talk about the episode, what we thought of it, you know? I mean, I've already done that. Yeah. You can go check out Biffweed's review, which will probably be linked on the screen somewhere, at some point. I forgot to mention it earlier, but yeah, you can just go do that. And it'd be cool and based and poggers and red pilled. So remember, you can support my Patreon if you want. They're all my lovely patrons going by on the screen. Thank you very much for your generous payment to help me keep going with my terrible videos. And one of the benefits for being a patron, if you've somehow not noticed in some of the other videos, you get to make me say stupid shit. Let's see what the lovely patrons have cooked up for me today.
The IRS is taking all of my money. This was unpredictable.
Hey, it's me, Biffweed. Larry Winwood's that was more of an Arnie impression than a Biffweed impression. What the fuck? Larry Winwood is the kind of guy to plug his nose and shout Geronimo with. I don't know what this is in reference to, Biff. I don't get it.
The One Piece is real! Infinite time. A white strength hidden within its origin. Spread your wings in the echo of intersecting souls. Come forth from the blue abyss. Come forth, Deep Eyes White Dragon!
But Biffweed is a good friend. He's a good friend, not just a good YouTuber. I'm not saying that one.
Shazoo! Get it? It's like the funniest thing Boomstick said. Isn't Boomstick a riot, guys?
Hello, Versus community. Allow me to talk about Blake Belladonna versus Black Panther and tell you why the winner is Blake Belladonna. All right, bye.
You see, my name's Billy, and I just won King of the Ring, but there's one problem. Everybody still thinks that I absolutely suck. And then at that point, Billy, your house started to shake, the heavens opened up, and God himself spoke to you and said this, Bob, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.